So I'm here to present on the visible parts of the computer. So I'll be discussing some other things which I'll mention. So we'll be discussing about how the computing devices works, their processes, their parts. And under the parts, we have hardware, we have operating systems, and then we have application systems. So we'll further move on to their user interface. And under the user interface, we'll discuss Windows, the versions of Windows. We have the 7, 8, 8.1, and then 10. Then we have Mac OS and then Linux. So now we move on to how the computer device. What is a computer? And then we say a computer is an electronic device that can perform calculations, make work to be done easier and faster without making errors. So we have the stages of computing process. We have the inputs, the outputs, and then the processing. So it's in line. So from the diagram below, we have the inputs, processing, and then outputs. And then we have some examples of inputs, which are the mouse and then the keyboard. We know the inputs are the raw data entered into the computer. So the keyboard, with the help of the keyboard and then the mouse, we are able to enter information, which is the raw data, into process. And in the process, the chip allows us to be able to store that information on a flash memory temporary, and then the hard drive permanently. So after information is being processed, that's the transformation of information, then the information that appears on the screen is the output. So that's the whatever we input first is what we get at the end. So we have soft copies and then hard copies, and then the soft copies are the ones displayed on the screen, and then with the hard, if you want to get a hard copy of the information you inputted, and then we use the printer to get the hard copy. So now we move on to the parts of the computing device. So we have the hardware, which I made mentioned earlier on. So we know the computer hardware is the physical components that the computer system requires to function. And from the diagram below, we have some examples of the computer hardware, which are the physical components, things we can see, feel, and touch. So we have the monitors, laptops, computer systems, keyboards, mouse, graphics, sounds, and cards, and many more. So we further move on to the operating system. The operating system is a system that exists in order to make the different parts of the computer work together. So I would say the system manages the computer hardware, the software resources, and provides common services for computer programs. So these are the examples of operating system. We have the Windows, we have the Linux, we have Mac OS. So next is the application system. So these are some of the examples of application systems. And we know the application systems are the computer program designed to help people perform an activity. So these are programs that help people perform an activity. We have the Outlook, we have Sparrow, Gmail, Webmail, Google Inbox, Outlook, and then many more. So the application software talks about how application programs help manipulate text, numbers, audios, graphics, and the combination of these elements. So next we talk about the computer user interface, which we made mention are the Windows, Mac OS, and then the Linux. And then we said that with the Windows we have versions. there are some features that were brought up, and then some of the components of the Windows 7 interface from the screen, the applications on the screen. You just have to scroll to the left or right depending on which application you want to see on the screen. And then with the Windows 7, we can see there was notification bar, there was the task bar. We also have the task bar in the Windows 8, but it's not visible like the Windows 7. So we don't see the notification bar and then the rest. So then the Windows 10 was brought up, and the Windows 10 is a combination of the Windows 8 and then the 7. So with the Windows 10, you can see a lot of features listed here. So see, it's very visible here. And then the notification bar was also brought, but in Windows 8 we didn't have the notification bar. And then the pin programs, which was in Windows 7, was also brought again. And we have the search box, the system icons. We can see the visible parts, the interface, the user interface of the Windows 10. So in case you want to search for any application on the desktop, you just have to go to the search box and then type whatever it is you want, and it will appear for you to continue with your process. So now we come to Mac OS. So Mac OS is a graphical operating system developed and marketed by Apple Inc. since 2001. It is the primary operating system for Apple Mac computers. So the Mac OS is also known as the Apple, which we know as the iPhone laptops, but it's not called so. So these are the user interface of the Mac OS. We can see from the screen. So with the Mac OS, it works. We can see that it's totally different from the Windows that we saw earlier on. So we have the Linux, and the Linux is an open source and community developed the Linux operating system for computers. With the Linux, it works with a command. It's not like the Windows that everything is visible for you to work with. So you have to enter a command to be able to access the Linux application. So as it is visible and we are seeing it. Thank you very much.